Moving on to number 8, city employees policy and response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Natalie.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. Tonight I am bringing forth the employee policies that were expanded during the COVID-19 pandemic response to have City Council retroactively approve them and provide any guidance for any future implementation. So the city continues to respond operationally, as you know, to the pandemic. During the initial days of the pandemic, once the stay-at-home order was issued by the state of California and the city moved to a state of emergency, we had to adjust policies, as you know, for employees sort of on an in real time. And as a result of this, there was 3 memos that was issued from Human Resources in the month of March. And so tonight, I'm just gonna walk through those parts of those memos that were issued that were part of the staff report to just explain to City Council and the public as to why this was done. So part of what the city did during these initial days was classify employees, particularly non-safety employees, into essential and non-essential. And so as we closed city buildings in response to the pandemic and the state of emergency and the stay-at-home orders issued by the state, some non-essential workers that were scheduled to work did not have work available, but they were available to work. So we paid those employees for their regular scheduled hours. That has, and I have a slide towards the end here that explains that has decreased as we've moved through the pandemic and we've sort of, the order has relaxed, but this is where we were initially. Employees who were 65 and older who were not sick but chose to stay home were temporarily authorized to utilize their sick leave, and that still remains in place. And also the vacation caps were temporarily suspended, and those we are recommending to continue that because until the emergency, 3 months until the emergency is declared over. If employee is using a sick leave to care for a family member during quarantine or for themselves due to COVID-19, we're recommending that if they run out of sick leave, that they're able to use a negative sick leave balance up to 80 hours. And there has been some changes in the law since this was originally proposed, but we are recommending to keep this in place, even that there are, and I'll get into it, HR 6201. So we also allowed temporary employees that were non-essential to be paid for their scheduled work hours. And so it was about a week period there. We did do that. That's been done. My last slide says that we have already started to bring back some temporary employees back to assist with the front counter at City Hall or projects as building a business and building projects in Ben Shop has picked up that we need to bring some temporary employees back, but we are definitely not at the level that we were prior to the pandemic. HR 6201, this was the last memo that was issued in March 31st. This is a federal law. I'm sure many of us are familiar with this. This provided for emergency paid sick leave and also emergency expanded family medical leave to include emergency time for those employees who need to have childcare due to their school or childcare closure. So at this time, there is no mechanism for public agencies to be reimbursed for this time. However, there is, hopefully, that will change in the future for us. So I know Diana is providing status updates, but and I did mention some of these along the way regarding how we are going into phase 1. And some of these, one thing is that departments are reemploying temporary employees, and also the incident standby time in terms of non-essential employees being paid standby time is decreasing as well as we continue to provide service to the public. We do have employees doing self-screenings every day. They do have to, here at City Hall, they have to take their temperature and they have to answer a couple questions, and they are required to wear cloth facial coverings while working, unless there is a safety hazard, as this notes. So at this time, I would take any questions that you have. I just did a brief overview, but it gives you an idea of how the city responded to the pandemic, how we adjusted the rules and the policies and procedures of the city to remain flexible, and how we're also starting to evolve from that as the restrictions begin to change again. Thank you.
I just want to commend you and, everybody in City Hall that have really adapted. I mean, you've said you're being flexible, you're adjusting. That's definitely what you've done. And the routine has become kind of the new normal, if you will, the new temporary normal, and it's working. And so everyone, I come in, people are, they're smiling and they're happy and they're working, but they've got their face covered, doing their thing. So kudos to that. That's good. Do we have any public comment on the item?
None so
Nothing.
far.
All right. Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you.
Through the mayor,
Sir.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution approving employee policies which were expanded in response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Okay.